Lengths out of it. There's a half mile to run, and Winning Colors doing what she did in the Derby. She's still free running on the lead. 3 furlongs to run, and she leads now by 3. Goodbye Halo beginning to pick it up in second now. Shamsay is third toward the rail. Personal Ensign is putting her run in on the inside now. She takes to the outside. 5 lengths off the lead of Winning Colors, who turns for home here at Churchill Downs. Stevens going to a vigorous left-handed whip, holding on by 2. Goodbye Halo is charging hard. Here comes Personal Ensign, unleashing a furious run on the outside, but it is still Winning Colors. Goodbye Halo. Personal Ensign, a 16th of a mile from the wire. Winning Colors is there. Personal Ensign, a dramatic finish, and here is the wire, and it is Personal Ensign there with Winning Colors in a photo. Very close. At the 16th pole, it looked like Personal Ensign was facing her first defeat, but in those final 110 courageous yards, she certainly proved herself a champion this afternoon.
The horse is in with the chance on the outside. Second Empire. Hawksley Hill is now coming hard. Labib is finding his best stride late. Joyeux Dancer on the outside. Nothing left for favorite trip. It is the Haas and Hawksley Hill. Hawksley Hill into Haas. Hawksley Hill forges short lead. The Haas, whose game as they come. Coming down to the line. Spine tingling stretch ride. The Haas comes back. Unbelievable. Sensational. In victory here today. It was very, very close with Hawksley Hill. Oh my! This is the greatest comeback since Lazarus. He had one race in 2 years. The winner of the 96 mile comes back, and it is an apparent victory. It looked like he got it over the narrowest of margins from a game Hawksley Hill.
They're on the backstretch. It's almost a match race now. Secretariat's on the inside, by ahead. Sham is on the outside. They've opened 10 lengths on My Gallant, who is third by ahead, with Twice a Prince fourth. Then it's another 8 lengths back to Private Smiles, who is trailing the field. They continue down the backstretch, and that Secretariat now taking the lead. He's got it by about a length and a half. Still Sham, 10 lengths back. My Gallant, Twice a Prince. They're moving on the turn now. For the turn at Secretariat. It looks like he's opening. The lead is increasing. Make it 3.5. He's moving into the turn. Secretariat holding on to a large lead. Sham is second, and then it's a long way back to My Gallant and Twice a Prince. They're on the turn. Its Secretariat is blazing along. The first 3/4 of a mile in 109 4/5. Secretariat is widening now. He is moving like a tremendous machine. Secretariat by 12. Secretariat by 14 lengths on the turn. Sham is dropping back. It looks like they'll catch him today, as My Gallant and Twice a Prince are both coming up to him now. But Secretariat is all alone. He's out there almost a 16th of a mile away from the rest of the horses. Secretariat is in a position that is impossible to catch. He's into the stretch. Secretariat leads his field by 18 lengths. And now Twice a Prince has taken second, and My Gallant has moved back to third. They're in the stretch. Secretariat has opened a 22-length lead. He is going to be the Triple Crown winner. Here comes Secretariat to the wire. An unbelievable, an amazing performance. He hits the finish 25 lengths in front. It's going to be Twice a Prince second, My Gallant third, Private Smiles fourth, and Sham, who had it today, dropped back to fifth. An amazing, unbelievable performance by this miracle horse. And look at Mrs. Sweetie. She's having the time of her life. She and Lucian Lauren, who own this most magnificent animal, who has today run the most sensational Belmont Stakes in the history of this race. Secretariat has accomplished the unbelievable task of breaking the 1.5-mile record by 2 3/5 seconds. That is a record that may stand forever.
Foggy winter mornings, the first steps in training a racehorse take place across McCadden Brothers Training Center.
That's really our core philosophy. If it's, like put the horse first and do what's right for him, and hopefully they'll develop to their top potential.
Talented, yet inexperienced 2-year-old thoroughbreds get accustomed to being handled, as well as to the weight of a saddle and the feel of a bit in their mouth.
Our job is really we don't have to teach horses a lot because they innately know how to do most of the things that we want them to do.
It's a process, one which requires learning, intuition, and patience for both the trainer and horse.
This is just to get him used to the whip and a lot of movement. Ho. You got to have trust in your handlers first. Whoa. You don't see very many of my horses very nervous. So it's for nerves. On all sports, it's how nervous you are. Back, 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 back. Whoa. The main thing is spontaneous reaction, when to pull, when to stop, when to pet, how to read a horse quickly, because it's over and over, exactly the same thing, over and over. So he knows when he stops, all he gets is petted. That's why he stops. That's why he won't move, because he knows all he gets is scratching, petting. When he says, whoa, whoa, back, back, whoa, come up. Oh, there, see now, that's spontaneous reaction. When I said come up, he went on 3 legs and I quit right then. Yeah, watch this one now. This is when I got him hypnotized now.
Each horse, similar to humans, has his or her own personality, motivations, and anxieties. Behaviors and mannerisms are studied and noted, and often relayed back to the owner-clients.
By the time they hand them over to us, they're completely trusting of us, and we respond and talk to them as the development of their horses come along, and try to get the best horse we can get for them.
Once these young thoroughbreds adjust to having a person on their back and learn to take direction and cues, they progress toward the training track. The thoroughbreds are tested for fitness, soundness, and speed. Atop a viewing stand, the McCathan brothers appraise each horse closely. Any advantage, real or perceived, is worth exploring. The top horses exemplify not just speed, but a keen look and a professional attitude.
I think identifying that talent and kind of, just really coddling it is very important.
It's a rare sight, a bright pink riding helmet flying above a racehorse. The young woman beneath its brim grew up with her heart set on this. A shot as a professional jockey in the death-defying, adrenaline-pumping world of racing thoroughbreds at up to 40 miles an hour.
I just love horses, love riding, love going fast.
Here in Lexington, Kentucky, where horses and hooves are aplenty, 22-year-old Vanessa Rial is a few strides away from graduation at the only jockey school in the United States, the North American Racing Academy. She's almost completed the 2-year course after paying $27,000 in total tuition. Students here will spend a few hundred hours riding a horse and learning the skills required. The freshman class has 12 aspiring jockeys, 11 of them women, defying the odds. Roughly 10% of licensed jockeys in the U.S. are female, and of the top 100 jockeys right now, only 2 are women. But these young ladies are ready to man up.
No princesses.
No princesses, you got to be one of the guys.
Full responsibility lies with you.
Though her competition is mostly veteran riders, there's one boy here who has the audacity to be a novice.
I've never ridden, now I'm here.
Chase Roberts is ready to stand his ground among his female classmates as the lone stallion.
All girls didn't intimidate me. No complaints about that, but I saw that some of them were pretty good at riding, and I was like, dang, they know what they're doing, and I don't.
Though he has been accepted into this elite riding program, this is his first time ever on a horse.
Don't get your feet back behind the saddle cloth.
But no riding experience can be a leg up here because you don't have to break bad habits. Racing a thoroughbred requires very different techniques than show jumping or dressage.
Chase, is coming along very, very well. He had no riding experience before coming here.
But that's not necessarily a disadvantage in your book.
No, it's not, because that's the world I came from. I never touched a horse till I was 16 years of age, and I was riding professionally when I was 19. Just trot off a little bit.
Chris McCarron is one of the winningest jockeys of all time, and he's founder of this school. What is it that makes a great jockey?
It's really basic. They have the greatest ability to stay out of the horse's way to the highest degree.
Normally jockeys, we rose at between 5:30 and 6 o'clock in the morning and headed out to the racetrack for our morning workouts. And morning workouts really are comprised of visiting barns that you would ride for trainers in the future. Maybe that day you'd be visiting the mounts, the horses that you're going to ride in the next day, two, maybe in the next week or two. The training hours are typically from 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning until about 10 a.m. in the morning. By 11 o'clock in the morning, I would make my way back to the track itself and head to the jockey's room. The very first thing that I do when I hit the jockey's quarters is weigh myself. Come on in, we'll do this. If it was a fruitful night with food the night before, a lot of liquids, it could be pretty tight, and I'm expecting bad news when I step on that scale. So this would be either put a smile on my face or a frown on my face. Nobody in the jockey's room during racing hours except the jockeys and their employees. My day was pretty much go in here, get in the shower, shower off, go in the steam room for about 25 to 30 minutes. I would do a little calisthenics, I would stretch, I would shave, I would just loosen up basically, if you will, and I would lose a pound and a half in there doing that. This is the masseur's room. Another pretty good place for a jockey to cool down, regroup. I might come in here and lay down with a towel over me for 15 minutes or 20 minutes. I told you I might take a little brief nap. It would probably happen here. So this was my corner when I was riding. I call it my corner. I shared it with several other jockeys, and the equipment, the actual saddles, are located down below. And I'll pull out one saddle here. This is a particularly big saddle. Let me get a smaller saddle. This saddle would weigh about, probably about 3.5 or 4 pounds. This saddle would weigh about 1.5 pounds. You can see the difference. And you would use this saddle on horses that are weighted with higher weights, unless you're very heavy that day. And this saddle would obviously be used for horses with lesser weights. But before the silks go on for each particular race, we'll put on our safety vest. It's called a flak jacket, if you will. It's to minimize injuries if and when we fall. And it's not a question of if you're going to fall, it's when in this business. It's the only business I know that the ambulance follows you. So yeah, it's a risky business. And that's kind of the bad side of it. You've seen the weight losing, early mornings, possibility of injury, but there's a lot of good side too. When riding the Kentucky Derby as a jockey, several items of equipment are required. Among them a helmet for safety and goggles for vision. And because we run on dirt in the Kentucky Derby, you get dirty. And that requires goggles. Now going 1.25 miles, it requires more than one pair. I've used as many as 6 pair. In 1993 and 1996, that's exactly how many pairs of goggles I used riding Grindstone and Sea Hero. Now this is a beautiful sunny day, but kid you not, we still need multiple pair because they put the water on the track themselves, creating a lot better traction for the horses as they go over it. But 6 pair of goggles? Try putting 6 pair of sunglasses on top of each other and looking through them. Things get a little fuzzy, a little blurry. It distorts your vision somewhat, especially peripherally. You can see very little from side to side. As we go through the running of the race and are in amongst the pack, the dirt comes back flying, covers the top pair of our goggles, so we must reach up while we're riding with 2 fingers and pull a pair of goggles down. We repeat that as we go through the track, one by one, hoping not to cover my mouth. That has happened before, and that's a heck of a problem getting my air. I'm here to win a race, and I have to make multiple decisions and try and coax the best run out of my horse that I can. But I need to see very clearly, and through all this, I have to reach up unconsciously and pull them down. And I hope that I've judged the amount of goggles I've carried with the amount of distance I've traveled and not run out before I hit the finish line. It's happened to me before, and it's not fun. Jockeys must accept the fact that it's not if they will fall, but when. Yes, bones will be broken, but you just have to pray it's not career-ending. Almost always, spills happen without warning. Fortunately for jockey Julian Leperoux, he landed on a safety rail, which has a hard plastic shield on top of it, allowing a jockey to bounce clear rather than being wrapped around one of its supporting poles. Leperoux was lucky and walked away from this, but not all jockeys do. Unlike NASCAR drivers who are surrounded by a steel cage to protect them during a crash, a jockey's only safety equipment are their helmet and their protective cage, the vest.
For a jockey, it's inevitable. It's going to happen. We're all going to get hurt at some point.
It's how bad you're going to get hurt.
A little bit crazy.
You have a 1,200-pound horse.
A bit brave.
And you weigh 110 pounds.
And a bit courageous at the same time.
It really doesn't bother me that I've broken my neck 3 times.
Oh, I crushed my skull at Church announced.
I have a plate and 5 screws holding my collarbone together.
Broken pelvis.
Broken ribs.
Collapsed lung.
4, 5 pins put in my hand.
My head looked like a spider web. I fractured it so bad.
Took out my spleen. Broken my kneecap. I broken my fingers.
Unfortunately, it's part of the game. And because it's part of the game, we have to make sure that we're thoroughly protected when we're out there.
But there's only so much you can do, you know, besides putting row bars on horses or something, you know. But I mean, it's you have a helmet, you have a flak jacket now, and your boots, and that's pretty much it.
When I'm scared out there, my saddle's going on the wall. I don't have time for that.
The day I'm going to start thinking about it, that's the day I'm going to retire. To get back on a horse, to me, is what I love to do.
I go out there and do what I have to do, and that's my job.
Because I love to do it, you know what I mean? It doesn't scare me one bit. I don't look at the consequences of being that it might shorten my career. It all comes down to what you want to do in life.
I'm originally from Kentucky. I'm active duty Army, but this is my full-time job, is doing this right here. I had no horse experience. Everything that I know in here, I've learned in the past 2 years. I get to know the personalities of all my horses. I know how each one of them is going to react in here. She's definitely one of our easier horses. We do have some that will physically take their foot away from you. You just kind of try to work with them. These shoes weren't fitting her properly anymore, so I went ahead and made some new ones. Just like we had to clip our fingernails, we have to clip theirs as well. If they didn't have shoes on, the terrain that she was on would naturally wear it down.
Well, Ray, your horses win more than everybody else's combined. So there must be some secrets that you can share with us.
Well, I don't know whether there's secrets or not. It's just that I try to do the best what my dad taught me. He was a very, very good horseshoer also. And we try to keep the horse's foot balanced. I'm looking at his feet and see how he sets them down as he's walking. I'm very, very gentle with these horses. Very gentle. I let them give me the foot. I don't take their foot. I let them give it to me. When a horse gives you his foot, they stand much better. And one is the most important part of shoeing a horse, any horse, especially a thoroughbred, is you got to keep the feet level. That's the most important thing. It's like a carpenter building a house. If he don't start level, by the time he's done with that house, he's in trouble. This is another very, very important step. I'm doing what you call freeing the sole of any contact when I get ready to put that shoe on there. Otherwise, you're going to have what they call sole pressure. That'll make a horse go sore. This is coming out very nice. I'm very happy so far with what we've done here today with this horse. We got a nice angle here of the pastern. There'll be no pressure here. The way he's shod right now, there's no pressure here. There'll be no fluid here. This will be beautiful. We put a little wedge up in front to get that angle correct, and he's putting his feet very level on the ground because he's shod level. That's why I kept stressing that they have to be level before you put
in the Run for the Roses. Talk as Money was acting up just a bit in the starting gate. And they're off in the Kentucky Derby. And Song and a Prayer comes out in stride from his inside post. Balto Star is there, not far behind Millennium Wind. And here comes Keats from the far outside. Bias for the first time. And it is Song and a Prayer to lead the way. Balto Star right there with him. Keats on the outside is running along in third. Maling in 10th. AP Valentine is 11th. Thunder Blitz lumbering along in 12th place. Then it's a break of another 3 back to Monarchos. Dollar Bill followed on the inside by Arctic Boy. A break of 6 to Stretch running long shots. 50 Stars and Jamaican Rum. They're inside. Congaree in good striking position on the outside. And the pent-up power of Point Given. 5 lengths from the lead. He's beginning to advance. Express Tour is right with him as the field rounds the far turn. Then Invisible Ink. Thunder Blitz is well within striking range. Jorge Chavez gets busy on Monarchos. And they're surging as they move toward the top of the stretch. And Congaree has come away with the lead. Here comes his stablemate Point Given on the outside. They're in 3/4 in 1:09.1. Record time here in the Derby. You're at the top of the stretch. And it is Congaree who is full out. Here comes Monarchos under a heavy drive on the far outside. Invisible Ink is there. Point Given not today. 1 furlong left. Here comes Monarchos, who sweeps to the lead. He's pulling away by 2. He's pulling away by 3. Jorge Chavez and Monarchos have won the Kentucky Derby. And the final time was 1 minute, 59 4/5 seconds. He was a... Now let's ride with Jorge Chavez and Monarchos the entire way in the Kentucky Derby, sort of breaking a little sideways, not uncommon, and no real problems. Number 16 in the gold and blue colors of the Oxleys, and getting away cleanly as Chavez places the stretch running colt in the proper position. Going along easily, as you see, and really clear by himself there as they go by the finish line the first time and into the turn. Dollar Bill just behind him to the outside, but Monarchos clear sailing at this point as Chavez has yet to ask him for any run. And moving up on his inside, Arctic Boy goes up to go head and head with Monarchos, who doesn't seem to be bothered by it, tends to his business in a relaxed mode. Now about midway down the back stretch, where Monarchos made that giant move to win the Florida Derby, is where Chavez starts to pump and changes his goggles right there, gets his whip out, and now he is beginning to ride in earnest. Gives Monarchos a little tap to wake him up. And look at him accelerate as he moves inside 2 horses, inside again on the rail, the ground-saving trip from Chavez, and he has Monarchos in full gear right here. Monarchos picking up horses right and left. He goes by Keats, who's fading. And next he has dead aim on number 4, Thunder Blitz. And in front of him, Balto Star, as the speed horses are dropping back. And Monarchos gets a tap again from Chavez, who puts him on the outside, out in the middle of the track to keep him out of trouble. Here's Point Given looming now just to his inside. Chavez comes over right there, is where the objection occurred, but you can see that Invisible Ink really was not impeded, as Monarchos was clear as he went by. Chavez having switched the whip to his left hand, now drives to the finish line. They call him Chop Chop because of his whip work. He doesn't need it here, though. Monarchos home free in the Derby.
Woo, baby!